to the World Storytelling Cafe. And it is Friday night, and I see Louis has joined us just in time. Magnificent. Well, Louis, welcome back to back to the Friday night, Sander. And we have with us tonight, telling stories for children, the magnificent, the amazing, the one and only, the superb Tonge.
Oh, thank you very much. Is it me? Am I on? Do I start now?
You're on. Start.
Thanks, Joe.
But you have to say hello to Louis. That's the only compulsory thing.
This is Louis. Hello, Louis. How are you, my friend? I hope you're well. And I can see
you feeling better.
They're both here. I know Kaz and Russ very well. They're both young at heart as well. How are you, everyone? Especially welcome to Louis. Well, it's good to be back here at the World Storytelling Centre. Are you the centre? World Story Cafe. Do you know, that shows you how long I've been away, doesn't it? It really does. Do you know, I was going to say, for you who don't know me, but you do know me, I'm otherwise known as the Yarn Smith of Norwich. I used to say I wander the road, bringing wonder wherever I go, although I haven't been wandering very far of late, but it's still to be good here or back here in the land of Zoom, where the people sit on top of each other's heads. And it's good, you know, you all keep moving around. That's really weird. Someone else, Louis keeps moving. Louis, you were one side, now you're the other. There you go. Right, I'm going to take my hat off. Because unlike Barbara and John, you know, my mum told me it was rude to have your hat on inside. Don't feel you have to take your hat off, though, lads. It's not a problem. Right, I like to tell riddles. I like to tell stories. So I'm going to start with a riddle. If anyone can answer this riddle, then I'll share a story. And we'll work on like that. Now, I know it's a bit difficult to answer riddles in the land of Zoom, but hopefully we'll be able to do it. And so the first riddle is this. Do you know, I've had to write them down because I don't do them so much at the minute. There was a lord who had 3 sons, each with many faults and few merits, or so he thought. And he couldn't decide which of them would be the next lord when he was dead and gone. And so he decided he would test their wit. He would test their wonder. And so he gave each of them a shiny silver coin like that one there. Now, you can all see that shiny silver coin. Can you see that silver coin, Louis? I hope you can, my friend. Good for you. I knew you'd shake your head, and the rest are with you. He said, take one of these shiny silver coins and buy me something at market that can fill or fit in your pocket. And here's my pocket. Hold on. They're just there. And yet can still fill this room. Something that can fit in your pocket and also fill a room. Well, the eldest boy went out and he brought straw, damp straw, no good to man nor beast. Now, not only could it not fit in your pocket, but even so, there wasn't enough of it to fill his father's room. And it was a big royal room, not like my humble little cottage here. It was a big room. The second son went out and he brought feathers, coarse chicken feathers. So many, of course, they couldn't fit in a pocket, and neither could they fill the room. They only came up about that far in the room. Now, I know you can't tell from where you are, but that's about 4'6" in the old way. And so it was the youngest son went out. He went to the market. He found a stall that was very small. And on that stall that was small, there was something smaller still, something so small that when he bought it, he could fit it in his pocket. And yet when he took it out, it filled his father's room. So the riddle is this: what could he buy that could fit in his pocket that could also fill a room? Now, because I'm generous, like all people from Norfolk, or most of us anyway, well, from Norwich, let's say that, I'm going to give you 3 choices. There's something you can smell, there's something you can see, and there's something you can hear. Has anyone got an answer for me? Oh, hang on. Well, I'm going to, can someone unmute if someone, who we got here? I can't see who this is Mike. Mike. Okay, can we mic Mike, if that makes sense? What have you got, Mike?
Oh, I'm thinking. I think maybe a smell.
A smell. So what smell do you think it is?
That'd be a good cooking smell, I think.
Oh, a good cooking smell. But could you fit a good cooking smell in your pot? You're on the right lines. You were doing so well until you fell at the last hurdle there. But you're right, could be a smell. But think of a smell that you could fit in your pocket. Anyone? Anyone?
Well,
Come on,
the
Mike.
smell you could fit in your pocket would be sage or an herb.
So a herb, that'll do. Do you know what? Baba's got it. Could be a herb, could be a flower, could be a small kind of bottle of perfume that you could give your girlfriend. So that's your smell. So what about something that you can see or maybe not see? Come on then. Oh, Louis, what's Louis got for us?
Songbird.
What was that?
Songbird.
Oh, I don't know.
Songbird. It's a new one.
Go on then. I like that as well. That's a good answer.
And it's full of singing.
Right. Keep thinking then. Go on then. Anyone else? How about a candle? For when you light the candle, it fills the room with light. And when you blow it out, it fills the room with smoke and darkness. And finally, something you can hear. Anyone? I need you to get this because I need to start telling the story. I've not told that many this year. Something that you can hear. Come on, Louis, have another go.
A drum.
Did you say a giraffe? Do you know what? I like
a drum, he said.
A drum. You could get a tiny drum, couldn't you? You could do something like that. Or maybe, you know what? This isn't what I was going to use. I was going to use something called a buzzbone, but I left it upstairs. But luckily, I have these down here. Maybe something like this. What do you think of these, Louis? Ready? Listen. Bit like a drum, but a much sweeter sound. What do you think? Good? You impressed? I'm glad.
Dave.
Yes.
On your riddle, did you just put a ring on it?
You could put a ring on it.
Yeah.
I only just got that. Yeah, very nice. Do you know what? I'm going to move on with story. Would anyone like to hear a story?
Yes, but I'd like to hear the answer to the riddle.
Well, it was
Oh, the ring on it. Okay.
the ring on it. Yeah, the sound. Honestly, come on. This is the first time I've been in Zoom for ages. Don't make me regret it, Baba. Honestly. Right, I'm going to tell you a local story. I say a local story. Of course, like many of the stories I tell, like many of the stories we all tell, it's traveled many lands. It arrived here in Norfolk, where I live, about 600 years ago, and it was related to a man called John Chapman. Now, for those who don't know, Chapman is another name for a peddler. For those who don't know what a peddler is, and I'm sure most of you do, long ago, you didn't go to the shops came to you. A bit like Amazon today, except rather than just slinging things at your door and running away, they actually took a bit more care over it. For the peddler was someone who traveled the highways, the byways, the trackways, the pathways, calling out, "What do you lack? What do you lack? What will you buy from the pack on my back?" And in his pack, he sold many marvelous wares, from pots to potions to pins, and much more besides. But this is a story of a peddler called John Chapman from the town of Swaffham, where my mother's mother came from long ago. Work that one out. Now, John wasn't very good at his craft, and so he was quite poor. He was so poor there was a hole in his roof as big as my head, where the rain poured in upon the hard earth floor. He was so poor, all he had was one wonky stool, and every time he sat upon that stool, he fell off and cracked his head upon the floor. John Chapman, the peddler of Swaffham, was so poor he didn't even have glass in the windows. All he had was an old wooden shutter, and every time the wind blew, it went nee, 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 nee. And every time the wind blew fast, well, it went nee, 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 like that. The only thing John had of any value was a garden. For at the end of the garden, there was an apple tree. Apples big, red and rosy. Some of them nearly as big as my head, but not quite big enough to block the hole in the roof. Well, every day, John Chapman, the peddler of Swaffham, he bought, he sold, he bought. At the end of the day, he was so tired, he fell into bed. And this night, no sooner did he fall into bed than he had a strange dream. For in the dream, a voice spoke to him. It said, John Chapman, go to London Bridge, for there you will hear good news. Well, John awoke. He rubbed his eyes. He went, he thought, go to London? I can't go all the way to London. London is a long, long, long way away from here. And besides, dreams are silly, dreams are sad, dreams are for fools. You shouldn't take notice of your dreams. Well, I'm going to ask Louis. Are you there, my friends? Do you think he should take any notice of his dreams or not? Good for you, my friend. Let's see if he's as wise as you. Night after long, long night, John Chapman, the peddler of Swaffham, he had the same strange dream, telling him to go to London, for there he would hear good news. And after a week or more, well, John thought, I've had enough. I'm going to get a decent night's sleep if I do not go to London. And so he packed his pack full of good things to eat. Come on, Louis, what would you put in your pack to take to London? Go on, what do you think?
There's two.
Yeah.
One of them is sandwiches,
Yeah.
and another is crisps.
Oh, crisps. God, you know what? 600 years ago, they didn't have crisps. They didn't even have potatoes. Imagine that. So instead, he took a great big lump of cheese. He had to make do. He took some onions, so he had the cheese and onions, but he didn't have the crisps. But he also took a great big flask of ale. Does anyone here like ale, like beer? I knew I was going to see some hands there, especially for the beardy ones. There we go. Well, having packed his pack full of good things to eat, bread, cheese, he could only dream about the crisps, that good strong ale. He set off on the road. He walked and he walked and he walked and he walked. He walked and he walked and he walked and he walked. He walked and he walked and he walked and he walked. What did he do, Louis? Did he walk? Do you know what? I'll say he was actually having a rest. But after he had a rest, he then walked and he walked and he walked and he walked. He walked and he walked and he walked and he walked. He walked and he walked and he walked. What did he do, everyone? Of course he did. He didn't have another rest. He was a stout Norfolk man. He didn't need more than one. Finally, after 7 days of walking, finally he got to London. Now, give me a thumbs up if you've ever been to London. Aren't many here. Oh, okay. Yeah, good for you. Did you like it, Louis? David's been there. Bubba's dreaming about going there. Give me your hands again if you think it's a big, busy, bustling place.
London, Virginia.
Oh, do you know, I'm sure that's busy as well, but not as busy as London, England.
I lived there for 2 years.
What was it like? Busy?
It was wonderful. It was busy, and I love it. It's one of my favorite cities.
Tell me this, though, David. Does it have a bridge?
Yes.
But is it as good as London Bridge?
Which one? The
Well,
old one or the new one?
You know what? There's lots of different London bridges, and I'm talking about the one 600 years ago, because London Bridge long ago had houses and shops
Yes.
upon it. People lived and worked on London Bridge. Imagine that. John Chapman, the peddler of Swaffham, he walked up that narrow bridge. He found a gap between two houses. He sat down and he waited. And he waited, dreaming of the day when they would invent crisps. He waited all day long for the dream, or rather the good news that the dream said he would have. But no good news came to him. He came back a second day. He waited in the same spot. He looked up the bridge. He looked down the bridge. He looked everywhere around the bridge. Where did he look, Louis? Yeah. Up, down.
Everywhere.
Everywhere, exactly. Do you know what? I like that. You summarized me there, made it sound that much. He looked everywhere. He came back a third day. He looked everywhere. He came back a fourth day. He looked everywhere. The sixth day, oh no, he missed the fifth day. He looked here. The sixth day, he looked there. And again on the seventh day, he looked everywhere again. But no good news came to him. And finally, John Chapman, the peddler of Swaffham, he thought, what a fool I have been to have come all the way to London just because I had a dream. Don't I feel silly? And he packed his pack to leave. But as he did, a glover came out of his shop on London Bridge, a man who made fancy gloves for fancy peoples, a very fancy ads. Everyone in London who was rich and posh long ago wore gloves. And he said in a very Londony sort of way, he said, here, what you doing on my bridge? I've been watching you, fella, for 7 days. You ain't bought nothing. You ain't sold nothing. You ain't even been begging. What you doing on my bridge? And John Chapman, the peddler of Swaffham, he was forced to tell the glover the very same story that I've just told all of you, of the dream, telling him to go to London, for there he would hear good news. And at the end of the story, well, the glover began to laugh in a very Londony sort of way. For those who don't know London, like Well, like Bubba anyway, and David, because he's been to the other one, goes something like this. He went, yeah, 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 yeah. He said, you mean tell me you came all the way to London just because you had a dream? Don't you know dreams are silly, dreams are sad, dreams are for fools. You shouldn't be taking any notice of your dreams. Why, just the other night, said the Glover, I had a dream, and in my dream, I didn't live in London. I lived in a funny little village far away in a place called Swesham, Swasham, something like that, the back of beyond. And in my dream, I lived in a poor cottage. There was a hole in the roof as big as my head, where the rain poured in upon the hard earth floor. And in my dream, all I had was a wonky old stool, and I fell off it and cracked my bonds on the floor. In my dream, I didn't even have glass in the windows. All I had was a wooden shutter. And every time the wind blew, it went, meh, meh, meh. And every time the wind blew fast, it went, meh, 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 meh. But in my dream, I had a garden. And at the end of the garden was an apple tree. And in my dream, I had a spade. And I took that spade and I dug at the roots of the apple tree. And can you guess what I found? Gold. Treasure. But if you think I'm going to go wandering across the... Here, where's he gone? The peddler of Swaffham was no longer there. If it took him 7 long days to walk from Swaffham to London, it only took him 3 quick days to run all the way home again. Somebody, I think, actually, come on, who's going to tell me? Louis, what did he do when he got home? Go on.
Eat breakfast.
He what?
He eating breakfast.
Did he? Did he take a spade as well and dig? No?
He's eating his breakfast in the morning.
Ah, I see. And then he took his spade and he dug and he dug and he dug and he dug, he dug and he dug and he dug and he dug, he dug and he dug and he dug and he dug and he dug until finally the spade struck something hard. Oh, it was something very hard indeed. He leapt into the hole, he cleared away the earth. There was a box. He heaved the box out of the hole. He brought down the spade hard upon the lock. And slowly he lifted the lid. Now, at this point, I'm going to let you all into a little secret. You must all swear upon your very storytelling careers that you will tell no one else. Louis, do you promise to tell no one else, my friend? Know this then. Although I've been telling stories for many years, I've never perfected the art of the creaky lid. So you know what you must do after 3. Unmute yourselves. 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
Come on, Louis. Give me a creaky lid, my friend. Keep going. It's a very big lid. What we call in Norfolk a right huge lid. Do you know what? You died a bit at the end, but I'll go with that. The lid creaked open.
Little lid.
The peddler looked down, and as he did, his eyes went ba-doing, doing, doing, and back again. For what was in the box? Come on, Louis, what was in that box?
Crisp.
Who said crisps? I wish there were. What was it, crisps, Louis, in the box?
No, Bubba, that's so rude. No, it's not.
Was it gold?
No, it's gold.
Was it? It's because it was gold. It was gold. It was silver. It was jewels. You know what? That man, John Chapman, the peddler of Swaffham, he was as rich can be. And you can't get much richer than that. He spent some of that money upon the church in Swaffham. That's why if you ever go there, go to the chancel, what they call the business end, and you will see a carving about that big of a little man with a pack upon his back. And they say that's John Chapman, the peddler of Swaffham. The rest of the money he spent upon a fair and fine house, nicer even than mine, if you can believe that. Didn't just keep it to himself, though. He would even invite weird and wonderful folk like all of you inside. He would feast them upon swan pie, heron pie, and even pickled pike. And if you never had pickled pike, don't, because it's horrible. He would then tell them a story that I've just told you. And he would always finish that story by saying this. He would say, always, always, always follow your dreams. You must follow your dreams. And there, that story ends.
And there's that little saying which you know, Dave, that my dad used to say to me, because we were down in Suffolk. You see, and we have issues with you Norfolk people, and and he used to say, "Went to Slough, do a day's thrashing, didn't get nothing. That's summer, and it be." Obviously, didn't understand a word of that.
You see, well, it's Suffolk people. They have this issue because they're beneath us. I don't know why that is. It's only if you look on a map that is. But what can I say? We better leave that there. We better leave it there. All I'll say is I told that story in Whitby once, and I came out feeling full of myself because it's such a lovely story. And I was in the old part of Whitby, what they call the old town, and they had a shop there selling T-shirts with various slogans on. And one of them said, "My mum said I should always follow my dreams. That's why I'm going back to bed." It made me laugh, and I wish I'd bought it. But there you go. I didn't. Would you love another story? Well, in that case, you know what? We've got to have another riddle, haven't we? Well, I haven't got time for a Robin Hood story, but I've got a Robin Hood riddle. Louis, have you heard of Robin Hood? Do you like Robin Hood? Do you know what? I like Robin Hood too. I like his merry band, but my favourite has to be Friar Tuck. Friar Tuck, he was as big in the middle as he was tall. He was supposed to follow God in heaven, but like me, he really loved to follow his belly. He used to love to eat, but he also liked to bake. Not only would he nourish the merry men's souls, he would nourish their stomachs as well. He would bake them pies. Hands up if you like a pie. Yeah, I know Louis does. Louis likes crisp pies, don't you? Yeah? Thought so. Knew it like me. Crisp pies. Right. Sometimes Friar Tuck would bake fruit pies. Sometimes he would bake meat pies. I mean, he'd had too much of that. He would bake fruit and meat under the same crust. And that's how the mince pie was first invented. But what did he put in his pies to stop them going rotten? What would you lot put in a pie to stop it going bad? A friar who bakes. Do you know, thanks for that. Bubba's just sent me a message here, or sent it to all of us, saying a friar who baked. And all the time I've been telling this riddle, I've never had that before. I'm going to have that. I'm sorry, that's mine now. Bubba, you don't mind if I take that, do you? Thank you, my friend. A friar who baked. But what did the friar who baked put in his pies to stop them going rotten?
Preservatives.
Oh, preservative. Who said that? I can seize people, but I can't. Right.
No,
You see, the trouble is, Bubby, you're being too clever there. I'm looking for something much simpler, my friend. But a good start. We'll build on that. Not preservatives as such, no. Anyone else?
Sugar.
Sugar. Do you know what? He was sweet as enough. Oh, do you know? I messed that up, didn't I? He was sweet enough as it is, Louis. It wasn't sugar, and in fact, sugar was very expensive this time. It was like gold, but worth a guess. Anyone else?
Honey?
I'll try this. He put in his fork and ate the whole thing really fast. It didn't have a chance to go bad.
Do you know what, my friend? And I'm just checking this is Bob. Bob, do you know Bob? I was going to say teeth, but I can't argue with that. He put his teeth in the pies, he ate the pie. He put his fork in the pie, he ate the pie. That's how he stopped it going rotten. Give our friend Bob a big clap. He's earned you another story. So if you don't like the story, it's Bob's fault, not mine. Now I'm pointing down there. He could be somewhere else for you lot, but he's over here for me. Oh, he's beneath you as well. But there you go. Just as Suffolk is beneath Norfolk, Bob and who we've got, Bob and Liz in New Mexico are beneath Bubba. There you go. Nice to see you both, by the way. I'm not sure if we've met before. Hello, we've got another person joining us. Oh, look, it's Maria Cadelli. Everyone, wave to Maria. Hello, Maria. She's late to the party, but there you go. Yeah. She wants to know if she can tell us a little tale if there's time at some point. Is that all right? They're thinking about it. Oh, you should see some of them, Maria. There's some scowls coming, but never mind. Anyway.
It's your hour. You have the power.
I have the power. Moving on. Right then, I'm going to tell a tale. Has anyone here ever heard a donkey sneeze? Now you know. I knew David.
I live in Washington, D.C. Politicians are sneezing all the time.
Do you know what? A lot of people are sneezing in the minute. I hadn't thought of it that way, so I'm going to move on very quickly. Jack was walking down a country track, and as Jack walked down that track, he heard somebody sawing wood. Let me hear somebody sawing wood. Louis, have you got someone sawing wood for me? Can I hear this? Anyone else?
Zuba, 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 Zuba.
Do you know what? I like that semantic. No one's done a chainsaw, thank
Who
goodness.
let the ducks in?
You know what? That's a weird and wonderful mix. Such a weird and wonderful mix it was that Jack stopped. He thought, whatever is all of that? And Jack looked up, and there was the village swineherd. For those who do not know, the swineherd long ago was a man with a lovely big lustrous white beard. Take your pick. He was the man who looked after the people's pigs long ago. He would take them into the woods in winter to let them feast upon nuts and berries. But this old swineherd, he wasn't doing his job this day. For the swineherd, instead, he was up an old oak tree, sawing some of the dead branches from the top for his fire. But the problem was this. He was sawing the branch he was sitting on. He was sawing between himself and the tree, which is not a good idea, is it? Give me a thumbs up if you think it's a good idea. Give me a thumbs down if you think it's not. There you go. Well, you know what? Jack concurred with you. That's not a word I use a lot, concurred. He agreed with you. He called up, he says, here, swineherd, you carry on sawing that branch from that tree, you will fall to the ground and you will hurt yourself. But the old man looked down with disdain in his eye. That's disdain just there. It's disturbing, isn't it? He said, you mind your own business, boy, for I've sawn more branches from more trees and you scratched your backside. Be off with you. Jack said, suit yourself, I'm off. And Jack began to walk away. But he hadn't gone one, he hadn't gone two, he hadn't gone 3 paces when he heard a crack and a crash and a thud. And then, oh my back, oh my bum. There was the old man lying on the track, the broken saw one side, the broken branch the other. And now he called back to Jack. He said, here, Jack, you knew that was going to happen, didn't you? You knew I was going to fall to the ground and hurt myself. And Jack says, well, I did, I told you so. Oh, said the old man. Well, if you knew that was going to happen, you must be able to tell the future. You must be able to foresee future events. And Jack, with a wicked glint in his eye, he said, I can. Well, if you can see the future, says the old man, tell me this. Tell me when I'm going to die. Now, give me a thumbs up if you think that's a good question to ask. Give me a thumbs down if you think it's a bad answer. Bad good. You know what? It seems to get worse the older you get. You know, David, I'm not sure which way he's going. There you go. Well, thumbs up. You think it is a good question? Do you know, fair enough. We've all got different views on this. Well, Jack, he looked at the old man. Then he looked at his donkey, which he used to carry wood from the woods. He looked at the swineherd. He looked at the donkey. He looked at the swineherd. He looked at the donkey and he said, you will die. You will die when your donkey sneezes 3 times. Well, the old man threw back his head and laughed in medieval fashion, for he went, how did he go? Let me hear medieval. That just sounded slightly evil, but, you know, fair enough. You know, medieval, it was more Tudor that, but never mind, we'll go with it. He said, I've had that donkey for 3 long years. Never once, never twice, and certainly never 3 times has my donkey ever sneezed. Suit yourself, says Jack, I'm off. And Jack began to walk away. Meanwhile, the swineherd took up the rope around the donkey's neck and he began to walk the other way down the track. But he hadn't gone 1, he hadn't gone 2, he hadn't gone 3 paces. Oh, hang on. Oh, we're halfway through. Better get a move on, better I? Forgot about that clock. He hadn't gone more than 3 paces when the donkey stood stock still. The donkey went, hee-haw, 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 hee-haw. But that's how donkeys sneeze. Oh no, thought the old man. That's once my donkey has sneezed. If he sneezes 2 more times, I've had it. What can I do? Well, then he remembered he carried a sack about his belt, which he used to carry the food to feed the donkey. Having fed the beast already, he took it out, he shook it out, he pulled it over the donkey's head. And he thought, now my donkey will sneeze no more. Thumbs up if you think that's a good idea. Thumbs down if you think it's really horrible. Oh, it gets worse, trust me. He continued walking away, but dust in the sack went up the donkey's nose. The donkey went, "Eeyore, eeyore, 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 eeyore." He sneezed for a second time. I hope you were listening, because you lot have got to do it next time. Also, my friend Louis, if he's still there, he thought, oh no, that's twice my donkey has sneezed. If he sneezes one more time, I've had it. What can I do? Well, like many a desperate man before or since, he fell to his knees. And as he fell to his knees, he looked down. And as he looked down, he found a big old round cobble, a big old stone like that one there. You can all see that stone there, can't you? Of course you can. He looked at the stone. He looked at the donkey. He looked at the stone. He looked at the donkey's head. He looked at the stone. He looked at the donkey's nose. And he had an idea. He took one big old stone and he went up one nostril of the donkey. He took an even bigger stone like that one there and he went up the other nostril of the donkey. It's just as well that donkey didn't have wind as well. And he thought, now my donkey will sneeze no more. He took up the rope around the beast's neck and he continued to walk down the track. But he hadn't gone one, he hadn't gone two, he hadn't gone 3 paces. And you know what he must do when the donkey went? Unmute everyone. This is going to be good, isn't it?
Hee-haw, 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 hee-haw,
hee-haw. Do you know what? That sounded awful. But there you go. What can I say? He went, eeyore, 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 eeyore. The donkey sneezed. And as he sneezed, one stone shot of one nostril, it went, too, and smacked the old man on one side of the back of the head. The other stone went, too, and smacked the old man on the other side of the back of the head. And the old man fell down dead. And because it's bad manners for dead men to get up and walk around, that's where the swineherd stayed. And that's where this story ends.
Huzzah, huzzah. Wonderful, wonderful.
That is a weird and wonderful one. That was one I shared with my good friend Stuart, who got me into storytelling long ago, but that's another story for another day. Right, another
That's a clean version of that story.
Go on.
That's a clean version of that story. We've heard that story, but it ended from the other end.
Do you know what? That makes more sense, doesn't it? Because there'd be a bit more force to it. I hadn't thought of that. You know, I mean, I say that. I mean, it wouldn't me. I mean, I'm not like that, but some people I could imagine. Anyway, moving on. Very good.
I enjoyed your
That's
version.
the same as the Swiss version.
Do you know, I didn't know there was more. Isn't that good about telling the story? You always find out new versions. There you go. I'm going to have to hear these other versions at some point, I hope. Right, maybe in Marrakesh, fingers crossed. You never know, touch wood. Right, another riddle for you. Here's a good one. The Lord went out hunting. Posh Lord, imagine. Nice big hat, swirly hat. Not sure what the name ought to be. Posh gown. He's riding upon his charger, his best horse. He has a fair and fine hunting hawk upon his arm. He has his long dogs, his hunting dogs, running at his horse's hooves. But listen carefully. The dogs didn't run in front of his horse. The dogs didn't run behind his horse. The dogs didn't run to the side of the horse. The riddle is this. Where did the hunting dogs run? Now, I think Maria knows the answer to this. Oh, do you not? That's one you've not heard before. So they didn't run in front of the horse. They didn't run behind the horse. They didn't run to the side of the horse. Can anyone tell me, where did the hunting dogs run? Put your hand up and then unmute yourself if anyone's got an answer. Have a guess. I would say there are no wrong answers here, but there are. But we'll still go with it. We'll have fun with it. Yes, my friend. So who we got here? We've got Donald. Donald, I didn't recognize you with a hat on. Nice to see you, Donald. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Good. So come on, didn't run in front of the horse, didn't run behind the horse, didn't run at the side of the horse. Where did they run?
Underneath the horse.
Except they would have got squashed under its hooves, wouldn't they? And you know what? A good hunting dog long ago was worth a lot of coin. I think they'd have rather had their servants squashed, but we won't go there tonight. So it wasn't, they didn't run in front of the horse, they didn't run behind the horse, they didn't run to the side of the horse, they didn't run under the horse. So where did they run? Anyone else? Donald can have another go. Don't worry, you're not dismissed. You're right. You're still in the game. It's all right. It's everything to play for.
Away from the horse.
What was that?
Away from the horse.
Are you saying that they were scaredy dogs and not good hunting
No,
dogs?
they were smart. They ran away from the horse.
Do you know, again, all I can say there, Bubba, is you try to be too clever again. That's, do you know, I like it. It's good, but it's simpler than that. Anyone else? They didn't run in front of the horse. They didn't run behind the horse. They didn't run to the side of the horse. They didn't run under the horse. They didn't even run away from the horse.
Bob and Liz have put in a suggestion.
Who's this?
Bob and Liz have put in a suggestion.
On their legs.
What was that?
They ran on their legs.
They ran on the...
Their
On
legs.
their legs.
Under the legs.
No, they ran on their legs.
Run on the legs. They ran on the legs. You know what? That's even more clever than Bubba. I can see there's a theme coming here. You're all trying to be too clever. No, I like it. They did run on their legs, sort of, but it's not the answer I'm looking for. Technically, they ran on their feet, didn't they? So we want no pause. No, they didn't run in front of the horse. They didn't run. I could make this last the rest of the session, couldn't I? Let's move it on a bit. They didn't run in front of the horse. They didn't run behind the horse. They didn't run to the side of the horse. They didn't run under the horse. They didn't run away from the horse. They didn't run on their legs. Where did they run?
They ran
On the ground.
On the ground. You see, that's trying to be even more clever because technically it's right, but I don't do technically. I'm going to stop this before we get even more clever. They didn't run in front of the horse. They didn't run behind the horse. They didn't run to the side of the horse because they ran on the other side of the horse.
I said that.
Who said that?
Me. I said
You know, I
that.
didn't hear it. Do you know, Donna, I'm going to let you into a little secret. In the last year or two, my hearing wasn't good before, but since I've not been talking to people that much, it's got even worse. My ears are out of practice. So if you did say that, anyone, and that goes for anything else you say, it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's that I'm deaf as a post, honestly.
I think
Dave.
somebody
Yeah.
spoke over me.
It kind of got mixed with all the cleverness. That's what it was.
That answer to your riddle was so bad, I'm going to break my promise to myself because I'm going to say you said that with tongue in cheek.
I like it. I'm going to have that one as well, you see. But what about the pie one? That was even worse, that riddle. That riddle always gets you great.
That was one you can sink your teeth into.
Right, you know what? I'm being outstoried here and riddled, aren't I? I'm going to move on very fast. I'm going to tell another story and then I'm going to tell another riddle. And hopefully there's time because I promised my friend Maria, who's a wonderful storyteller, I taught her all she knows if she'd like to tell a story. So I've written a list of stories because I haven't been telling that many of late. So which one? Ooh. I've got one here called The Cat's Bum, and I've no idea. Well, I've written Cat's Bum. Why have I written Cat's Bum? I've no idea. Oh, that's a riddle. Moving on. Am I doing a riddle yet? No, we're not doing a riddle. Just talk amongst yourselves. Oh, here we are then. My favourite tale. And I'm going to introduce this story because this is a story that I heard. Well, it was originally an African story. I say that, but like all these other stories, there are many versions. And I used to tell it a lot, but then I found another version of the story involving a radish. And the radish one dates from Tudor times. It was first printed in Tudor times. And because I'm very keen on that period and I'd written a book on it, I actually carried on telling the radish one. But this is the onion version, and this is much simpler. But before I tell it, has anyone here ever grown an onion, just out of interest? Ah, you see, I knew David's grown an onion. David, now's your time to shine. David, has Liz grown an onion as well? There's going to be a Liz. There's going to be a competition, everyone, between David and Liz and also Donald. They're all coming out. You all have the faces of onion growers, so I'm not surprised. Right, so we've got Donald, we've got Liz, we've got David. A little bit of a competition. We'll start with David because he jumped in.
Louis.
David, biggest onion you've ever grown. Give me some idea. How big?
Hold on, let me put my phone down so I can use both hands.
Oh, is that big? That's quite big. Oh, he started quite big. Right, we go to Liz now. Liz, can you beat that? Biggest onion, have you grown a bigger onion than that? Never got. Oh, Liz, you know what? This was your moment to lie. But there you go. Oh, look at that. Oh, see, David, I knew she'd just forgotten. Right, Donald, can you top Liz? How big? That's quite large for a spring onion. Was it a spring onion?
That's exactly what it was.
All right. Now Bubba's jumped in at the last minute. He's decided he's grown an onion.
I grew an onion that was so big, it
Yeah.
made itself cry.
That is a big onion indeed. But even Bubba's onion, even that Hugh Spring onion of Donald, even those two from Liz and David, which were not far apart, I have to say. I would have to take them both on trust. They look trustworthy. Even those onions are not as big as the onion in my story. But this is a story of a poor cotter. And for those of you who don't know, a cotter was someone who lived in a cot long ago, a small cottage. But it really was just one room. And in front of the room was a garden. And in that garden, the cotter grew everything he needed to survive. For he grew peas, he grew beans, and he grew onions. Now, I'm not sure. Have we lost Louis? I don't know if he's ever grown onions. Hopefully he'll come back in a minute.
Oh, Louis did say he'd grown some, and he tried to talk to you, but Louis on his way swimming, I think, and he goes a bit dark in the car.
I see, Louis. Well, listen, Louis, I apologize. If you have got an onion, it was bigger than his. Even yours, Louis, I'm sorry to say, wasn't big as the onion in my story. Do you know? This onion,
I'd like to say,
go on.
my onion, as it grows, bigger than a football.
Do you know what? Bigger? Did you say bigger than a puffball?
No.
Excellent. And you know what?
Football.
Football. I thought you said puffball, because puffballs are a bit like football, so I wasn't that far out. You know what? Even one as big as a football wouldn't be as big as the one in the story. I'm going to say this because you'll understand this now, Louis. You're going swimming. This onion was so big, well, it would virtually fill a huge swimming pool. That's how big it was. And even I've never said it was that big before. I know, you can't believe it, can you? There wouldn't even be enough room left for Louis to swim. He'd have to like go round the edges of it. This onion was so big, it reached the ears of the Lord of the Manor, the posh folk at the end of the village. And so the Lord, he decides he's going to go and look at this big onion that was big as a swimming pool, which was strange because they didn't have swimming pools long ago. It was as big as a fish pond, let's say that. He rode up on his finest white charger, his best horse. But when he got close to the garden, he went, he had never seen such a big onion. He said to the poor man, he said, "That's a big onion, my friend." "I know, it's good," said the poor man, "isn't it? It's good. I like it, don't you?" Well, the Lord said, it's big, but is it good? For what can you do with a great big onion? "I've been thinking about that," says the poor man, "and I'm going to send my onion to the king." Well, the Lord laughed in medieval fashion. He went, "Ah, ha, 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 ha." And that was a bit more lordly than the other one. I think you'll notice the difference there. How did he go? Maria, did you see, everyone, that Maria was quite quiet? She didn't do it. How did she go? How did he go, Maria? Come on. You're going to have to earn this story. Work for it, girl. Go on. Actually, you know what? In truth, that's probably how the Lord really sounded. What can I say? He said, "You fool man, you dullard, you ninny hammer," for that's how they taught long ago. He said, "The king has jewels. The king has gold. The king has a pointy crown. Whatever you want with a big old onion." But our poor man did not listen. He wrapped the onion in a piece of cloth, a very big piece of cloth, and he sent it to the king. Now, it could be any king, but let's say it was Henry VIII. This was the young Henry VIII, not the old grumpy one. There he sat in his hall, going, "King, king, king." But when he saw that onion, he went, he had never seen such a big onion. No one had ever sent him such an unusual gift. That's the word he was looking for. But now he was worried. He thought, "I'm the King of England. For such a wonderful gift, I must send the poor man an equally wonderful reward. But what?" So I ask all of you wise and wonderful folk, what would you give a poor man as a reward? Louis, come, what would you give a poor man? What do you think he wants most in this world, apart from crisps? Are you with me, Louis?
A cow. A cow.
A cow? Did you say a cow? It's good if you've got milk. I like it. That's a good answer.
A cow
Yeah. What about, do you think he should want some
Cow.
money as well?
with some
Right.
meat
Yeah.
and
This has turned into a shopping list.
milk.
It's exactly like my list for tomorrow. Go on. Do you think he'd want gold as well to buy all these things with, Louis? Money?
Not really, not really.
Do you know, money's pretty good, especially if you want to go to the swimming pool and especially if you want to crane out that big onion as well. Money.
My mum just laughed about it.
Right, I like it. Do you know what? Good answers. Gold was the right one now. He sent that poor cotter a great big bag of the chinks, a great big pouch of gold. The poor cotter was now very, 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 very rich. And you can't get much richer than that. News of his newfound wealth reached the Lord. And when he heard, he grew angry. He grew jealous. He said, that's not right. That's not fair. He got a great big bag of gold for one onion. But wait, says he. Hold on, says he. If that poor man got a great big bag of gold for one onion, what would the king give me for my best charger, my best horse? And so he sent his best horse to the king. Henry VIII was very pleased. No one had ever sent him such a fair and fine horse before. But now he was worried. He thought, I'm the king of England. For such a wonderful gift, I must give the rich man an equally wonderful reward. But what? A few days later, the Lord was sitting in his great hall. There was a at the door. His servants opened the door quickly. Outside were all the king's men carrying a great big wooden box. And the Lord thought, a great big chest of gold for me. I am rich. But I shan't open it now. Instead, I shall hold a fair and fine feast. I'm not sure why Bubba's laughing. Do you know why he's laughing, anyone? He said, I shall hold a fair and fine feast. I shall invite everyone, including that foolish cotter, along so he can see what a really good gift to the king gets as a reward. And so it was, a great feast was held. Everyone ate themselves full. They drank themselves silly. And at the end of the night, the Lord stood behind the wooden box, stroking it backwards and forwards and backwards, saying, my box. Not Bubba's box, my box, not Louis's box, my box, definitely not Donald's box, my box. I know, look, I can see Liz and Bob have got their eyes on it. No, definitely they're not, and definitely Ray, she's not having it. And the rest of you, Kaz and Russ, hiding behind your screens there, you can't have it either, because it's my box. And slowly he began to lift the lid. You know what must be done after 3, 1, 2, 3. Away we go. Now, hold on. Just think about this, everyone. Hold on. I like your style, but hold on. That other box, the peddler's box, had been in the ground for a long time, so that was very creaky. Just bear in mind, this one's never been in the ground, and this is a box from the king. It's well made, so not quite as creaky. So just bear that in mind while you're doing your creaks, all right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that was equally weird as like the first one, wasn't it? The lid creaked open. The Lord looked down. And as he did, the smile fell from his face as water falls from a duck's back. But inside that great oak box was a great big onion.
Yawn! That's why I was laughing so much.
It's a good story, isn't it? If you ever get the chance, though, check out the Radish version of that story, because that's a bit deeper. That's a French version of the tale. But
and Dave?
Yes, my friend.
That big onion definitely brought him to tears.
It did, didn't it? Yeah. I think.
Have you heard Toop's Calabash version?
Do you know, I haven't, but I did because interestingly enough, someone told me that story many years ago, and I wonder if it was the version that they'd heard from Toop originally. I don't know, but it came to me through 2 other people before, so maybe it was his version.
Toop had done a lot of work up in East Anglia.
Right.
Around that time, about time when you were starting. So
it's fantastic though, and what's really lovely, and what I really love, the fact that I eventually found this other version, this French version. It's a little bit more to it about working the land and stuff like that, but you know, that just goes to show you there's no new stories. Right, I'm going to tell you a riddle, and then I think we just got about time for my good friend Maria. Are you going to still tell everyone a story? See, does she really mean that, or does she really want us to kind of cajole her into it? Well, I'm going to tell a riddle and let her think about that for a minute more. All right, a riddle, a riddle, a riddle. Well, I can't tell that riddle now because I gave away the answer. The cat's bum one, I'll tell you this now. You know what? I like Tudor stuff. It's always been a time I've been interested in. There is, hang on, what are you pointing at? Are you pointing at my computer? What are you pointing at?
I was just going to say, can you tell us the riddle about the love token instead of me telling one? Because it's not an ideal time for me to tell at the moment.
Tell the one about the
love token.
All right, we'll do that one.
Will you?
But just to explain the cat's bum, just so I don't understand, I'm not just going around saying cat's bum. You know, we're going back to a time, obviously, before computers, before television, before all of that, to a time when people still talk to each other. Of course, they gossiped about their neighbours, they made plans for the next day, they told stories and riddles. And this is a riddle that was first printed, it's probably much older, in Tudor times. And it's simply, what animal has its tail between its eyes? And of course, clever people say things like elephants because they've got the elephant's trunk, which is like a tail. But just so you know, the answer is a cat's licking its own bum. So there you go. You can have that Tudor riddle from me for free. But I'm now going to tell you another riddle, and it's one requested by my good friend Maria. And if there's time, she might still tell a story. We'll see. All right, anyway. Hands up if you've ever been in love. Oh, of course, some of you are now. Now, oh, hang on. Oh, there's some people we can pick on here now. No, I don't know. It could all fall flat. Bob, is Liz gone?
She just disappeared for a moment. She'll be right back. I hope she'll be back. I'm in love.
Can I ask then? You are in love with Liz, I hope.
Oh, yes.
There you go. Do you know, that's quite dodgy because there could have been nothing there. You could have just been good friends for all I know. But
Liz, was that the right answer?
There you go. Well, know this, everyone. Bob and Liz were in love. For a long time, Bob had worshipped Liz from afar, but he couldn't seem to catch her eye. No matter how much he tried to woo her, you know, Liz was looking around. She was young. I'm not saying she was after every boy. I don't mean that. She had other things on her mind. No, not just boys like Bob. And so Bob went to see his friends and he said, friends of mine, how can I woo Liz? How can I win her heart? That's easy, said his friends. Buy her a present, perhaps some ribbon for her hair, because as we all know, girls really love ribbon for their hair, don't they? Of course they do, especially if it's quite wild and untamed. But you see, there was a problem. And the problem was this. Bob had spent all of his coin on useless stuff. You know, I don't know what he bought. What sort of things would Bob buy? Oh, I wouldn't like to guess. You know, Bob had spent all of his money on drink and waistcoats. And there's nothing wrong with waistcoats. I've got a big collection as well. He hadn't got any money to spend on a present for Liz. But he wasn't that worried. He thought, I know. I shall go into the woods. I shall find a piece of wood which I can carve into a love token for my girlfriend. And so Bob, he wandered into the woods and he looked around for the best piece of wood, the ideal piece of wood to carve into a love token for his girlfriend or his would-be girlfriend, Liz. After searching all day, the sun was getting low, he came to an oak tree. Do you know it was that same oak tree that the swineherd had fallen out of earlier? I know it's a coincidence, but it was. But there, on his straight branch, a beautiful branch that would make an ideal piece of wood to carve into a love token for his girlfriend, Liz. Well, on that branch was an old crow that was sound asleep. Now, Bob looked at that branch. He thought, that's perfect. That's the branch I want. But he was wise enough in the ways of country law. He was steeped in the ways of the wild that he knew that you should never, ever disturb a sleeping bird, especially an old crow. And so the riddle is this. How did Bob take that piece of wood to whittle into a love token for Liz without disturbing the old black crow? That's the riddle. If you can answer it, there would still be a short amount of time for another story. We'll see. Have we got an answer? Liz, you're sitting forward. Have you got an answer for us?
No.
No.
She knows. We can't say.
Oh,
You're-
no, we can't tell
Everybody else
anyone.
has.
Oh, that's true.
There, everything
They're
happens.
not even listening. They're just been thinking about how much they love each other all this time. They didn't take the slightest bit of notice of the riddle anyway. Anyone else? Put your hands up if you've got a guess for me. How could he do it?
Say the riddle again.
So, the short version. Bob wants to impress Liz. He wants to carve her a love token. He goes into the woods. He sees a piece of wood, a bough without any bends, a branch without any twists in it that would make the perfect piece of wood to carve into a love token for his girlfriend, Liz. Perhaps a stay or some such thing as that. We'll see. But the problem was this. There was an old crow perched upon the branch. He didn't want to wake that old crow, but that was bad luck. So how did he take that branch? I didn't say the bad luck bit earlier, did I? How did he take that branch without disturbing it?
Is there pie involved?
Is there a tie?
Pie.
No, a pie.
Yes,
No, there's not an
crows,
onion involved.
blackbirds.
No, there's not a sneezing donkey. There's nothing involved that I've mentioned thus far. Anyone? How did he do it? Have a guess. Come on. God, they're not even. Do you know, Maria? You've sent me down this path. Come on, this is your fault. Thank you very much.
I'm afraid
Anyway.
I'm being too clever.
Do you know what? That doesn't mean you will
Dave,
continue to be too clever, my
Dave.
friend. What we got?
I'm in Oakham and I'm in swimming with my friends.
Right?
I'm on a lesson about swimming now, so I'm about to see you next Friday.
All right, you're going to see us next
Yeah.
Friday. Yeah?
Yeah, I am.
Do you know what, Louis? It's been a pleasure to meet you. It's really been lovely sharing stories with you. And thank you for your answers as well, my friend. You enjoy your swim and watch
I
out
will
for that
do.
really
I'll
big
see
onion.
you later.
It'll be like swimming in onion soup.
Yeah,
See
I
you later,
will.
my
I'll
friend.
see you later. Bye, guys. Bye, Patsy. Bye, John.
Goodbye, Louis. It's a pleasure to meet you, my friend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much.
Now we've lost Louis. Now I can't hope for any good answers off you lot. Can I? Anyone? Actually, you know what? You got me into this one, Maria. Unmute yourself, Maria, and tell him how he did it.
If I remember correctly, he waited for the bird to fall asleep. No, he waited for the bird to wake up.
You know what? I was going to do the good version of that there. He sat down. He folded his arms. This is Bob, everyone. He folded his arms with a whistle between his teeth, quietly, of course, and he waited for the bird to wake up and fly away. That's how he could take that branch without disturbing the bow. The bird, that's how he could take it home, and he could carve it into a love
You
token
remember that?
for his girlfriend, Liz.
Dave, thank you for reminding me.
Oh,
There
it
you
had been
go.
so long ago that we forgot.
Yeah.
Have you still got
Hey.
the love token, Liz? Has he? Yeah. Is it still? You still got that whittled love token somewhere? I hope.
I have it, and sometimes I lose it.
I know, you know what happened to the old crow? I don't know if you can see. That's the old crow. He's still searching now for that boy who stole his favourite branch all that time long ago. He hasn't actually put away that. He hasn't perched since. But there you go. That's another story.
What a lovely story for lovely lovebirds.
Do you know, isn't it? And I love doing that. I go out and I do that, and it's really lovely when you do it live and you see those couples sitting together and that. And then you get to that point though, thinking maybe they're together, maybe they're not together, maybe they were together, but this is their last time together before they split up. You suddenly launch into it, but then you get full of uncertainty. But so far, everyone I've asked or included in that riddle, at least they've told me they're in love. You never can tell, but who knows? Maybe they weren't in love afterwards. Maybe I put a wedge between them. But maybe I'm talking too much. We're nearly out of time. Maria, have you got a little story for us to finish? That was my cuckoo clock telling us we're out of time. Shall I finish then? Or are you going to? Do you know, she was full of herself earlier. Now look at her. There you go. Right. A riddle to finish then. Another riddle, because I don't think we got a story. Here we go. There was once a miser, a man who loved his coin more than anything in this world. They do say that money is the root of all evil, but in actual fact, the original saying was the love of money is the root of all evil. He loved money more than anything else in the world. If any of you had come knocking at his door, say, Bob, before he went and carved that love token, he actually went begging at the rich man's door. Not begging, but just thought he might be able to borrow some money. But what did he get? The miser stood at the door. He said, Bob, get ye gone. Tarry here no more. You will get no coin from me. Go into the woods and find a love token yourself. If people came begging at his door, they got sent away with a flea in their ear. He kept all of that money for himself. But now he was growing old, cold and weary. Death was not far away. But as his life grew less and less, his fear of punishment in hell grew more and more. He began to worry about punishment in the next world. And so he drew his family close to him and he said, for the good of my soul in heaven, when I die, you must give a penny to every poor man who asks it of you. But for the good of my soul in heaven, you must only give a penny to those who are honest men. Those who tell lies, they shall have nothing. And then he died. He went, like that. He was gone. But on the day of the rich miser's funeral, a great crowd of poor folk gathered. Except, of course, Bob, because he'd given Lizzie's love token by then, and they were together. They didn't care about such things. Anyway, the rest, all these other poor folk, they gathered together, all of them waiting for their penny. The first of them was called into the house of the rich man to meet with his family. The first man walked in, and with his head held low, he said, God is good. And they said, God is good. You speak the truth. You shall have a penny. Here's your penny. Get ye gone. They gave him a penny and sent him on his way. The second man walked in and he said, with his head held high, and a wicked look in his eye, he said, the devil is good. And they said, oh, no. The devil is bad. You tell a lie. You shall have nothing. They sent him away with nothing but a boot up his backside. The third man walked into the room, and with his head held neither high nor low, he spoke these words. He said, ne'er a penny you shall give me. You shall never, ever give me a penny. And so they couldn't decide whether they should give him a penny or no. So think about it. Those who tell the truth, they get a penny. Those who tell a lie, they get nothing. And he said, you shall never, ever, ever give me a penny. So what's the answer to the riddle? What should they do? Now, I'm not going to actually answer that riddle. It's up for you to decide. This one's going to keep you awake tonight. You'll be laying there in the night thinking, Dave, thanks for that. What should he do? Those who tell the truth, they get a penny. Those who tell a lie, they get nothing. And he said, you shall never, ever give me a penny. And with that, I'm finished. Because you can see the way I told that last riddle, I've had enough. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Dave, that was a fantastic evening. Now, if any of you are watching out in a virtual land, Dave, as you can see, has been holding up that cup all night. And what he means is my cup is empty and we need to fill it. Absolutely. And so if you, or fill the hat even. And there happens to be a virtual hat on the site. And if one cares to drop coin in there, which you can do very simply by clicking on the hat, please do. In the meantime, that was a fantastic evening, Dave. Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll see you in Marrakesh. If not, we'll see you in the virtual world, and I will see you actually on a field somewhere in East Anglia.
Oh, that would be good.
Certainly. Now, what we have got coming up, we have amazing stuff. I mean, Arnie is not going to sleep for the next 6 days. We're working him so hard. So tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning UK time, which is about 4:30 BBC time, and Bob and Liz time and David Thompson time, that's AM. We have our Australian and Asian story. So anyone can come and tell a story on that, but we do it that time so the Australian nation storytellers have a chance to participate in the World Storytelling Cafe. So, and then that's tomorrow. And while I was recovering from that, Sunday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, a little more civilized for you, Bubba C. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning. We have Jackie Ross from the wonderful Doric storyteller Jackie Ross, and from Scotland, and Simona Simbazi. That's right, isn't it, Ali? Yes, and from Italy, and loads of people that have been on the Crest course, which is David Heathfield's course, and they're doing a special on Sunday, and they're trying to raise enough money to pay two teachers from two broke teachers from broke countries to do David Heathfield's course on doing on use of storytelling in English, on use of storytelling for the teaching of English as a second language in obscure parts of the world. So that's 1 o'clock on Sunday. Tuesday, of course, we have, and if I don't say this, Bubba C will come through the screen and strangle me. We have our Young International Storytellers. That's at 4:30 p.m. All this is on the schedule. And I keep changing the schedule because I like to sort of just confuse Ali. So Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. is our Young International Tellers, and we have kids coming from India, from Ghana, from Nigeria, everyone. That next Friday, another treat. We have the phenomenal Seth Townsend next Friday for telling children's tales. So, and so it goes on. We just do quality at the World Storytelling Cafe. So see you during the week. You can join us virtually on Zoom as you have tonight, or you can just watch, bung stuff in the pot, whatever pot's there, bung stuff in it, and we'll see you. Yeah.
Did I hear you correctly saying tomorrow's at 1 a.m. British time?
No.
I mean 1 p.m. British time?
No, tomorrow is 10.
Not tomorrow. I mean Sunday.
Sunday is 1 p.m. British time.
Oh, I won't get any sleep.
Yeah, well, I just do these things for my American friends because, you know, I just like to give America a bit of a hard time. You know? So,
I'll be there. If I
yeah.
can wake up, I'll be there. I have a show after Australasia on Saturday, and that goes from 2 to 5 p.m. United States time. I'm sorry, Eastern Standard Time, because we have 6 different times. Anyhow, I'll do my best to be there. And for the wearer of the hats and the wearers of the beards, we held strong today.
We did indeed. So
but we were eclipsed by Bob and Liz.
Well, fairly well, everybody. And I will see some of you at the silly o'clock tomorrow. Once more, Ali, thank you very much for driving the magic carpet.
Yay!
And thank you, Dave.
And thank you. It's lovely to be back, everyone. I haven't visited Zoom very often, but you know what? I'll have to come more often again. It was so great to see so many smiling faces and so many people I haven't seen for a while. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to have to go and light my fire again. I was so enjoying that. I let the fire go out, but never mind. Don't worry about me shivering, everyone. You go off to your.
No, you know, we'll try and put something in to buy you a bit of fuel, so you don't have to go out disturbing crows.
yeah. One crow up there is enough. He haunts me in my dreams. That one does, but that's another story for another time.
Okay, see you all. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Fare thee well.
Fare thee well. To be continued until the next time. All right. And I think I'm out. Take care, Rafiki.